I just have to, General Clapper, I just have to mention the name Mr. Assange has popped up, and I believe that he is the one who's responsible for publishing names of individuals that work for us that put their lives in direct danger. Is that correct?
Yes, he has.
And do you think that there's any credibility we should attach to this individual, given his record of
Not in my view.
not in your view? Admiral Rogers?
I would second those comments.
Thank you. For the record, on October 7th, the Homeland Security and Office of Director of National Intelligence, their assessment was that the U.S. intelligence community is confident that the Russian government directed the recent compromise of emails from U.S. persons and institutions, including from U.S. political organizations. Goes on to say these thefts and disclosures are intended to interfere with the U.S. election process. Quote, such activity is not new to Moscow. Russians have used similar tactics and techniques across Europe and Eurasia. Quote, based on the scope and sensitivity of these efforts, that only Russia's senior-most officials could have authorized these activities. General Clapper, those are still operable and correct statements?
Yes, Chairman McCain, they are. As I indicated in my statement, we stand actually more resolutely on the strength of that statement that we made on the 7th of October.
I thank you. And so really what we're talking about is if they succeeded in changing the results of an election, which none of us believe they were, that would have to constitute an attack on the United States of America because of the effects if they had succeeded. Would you agree with that?
First, we cannot say they did not change any vote tallies or anything of that sort.
Yeah, I'm just
and
talking
we have
about,
we have no way of gauging the impact that certainly the intelligence community can't gauge the impact it had on choices the electorate made. There's no way for us to gauge that. Whether or not that constitutes an act of war, I think, is a very heavy policy call that I don't believe the intelligence community should make, but it's certainly would carry, in my view, great gravity.
Thank you. Admiral Rogers, have you seen this problem in your position getting worse or better? In other words, it's my information that their techniques have improved, their capabilities improved, the degree of success has improved. Is that your assessment?
So I have publicly said before that the Russians are a peer competitor in cyber. If you look broadly beyond the Russians to cyber writ large, the level of capability of nation states and actors around the world continues to increase. I can't think of a single significant actor out there who is either decreasing their level of investment, getting worse in their tradecraft or capability, or in any way backing away from significant investments in cyber.
And with all due respect to you, Mr. Secretary, I have not seen a policy. In other words, I don't think any of our intelligence people know what to do if there is an attack besides report it. I don't think that any of our people know if they see an attack coming, what specific action should be taken. Maybe I'm missing something, but I've asked time after time, what do you do in the case of an attack? And there's not been an answer. There's not been an answer. And I believe that unless we have specific instructions to these wonderful men and women who are doing all this work, then we're going to be bystanders and observers. Yeah, I'm glad to hear you respond to that.
Mr. Chairman, you're right that we have a lot more work to do to put the right deterrence and response framework in place on cyber. This is somewhat of a new domain of operations and, in some cases, warfare. And in my personal opinion, the next administration would be well-served to focus very early on those questions of continuing to develop our overarching policy, a comprehensive approach, and a increasingly robust and refined deterrence framework.
Thank you. Finally, Director and Admiral, would it make your job easier if you didn't have to report to 7 different committees?
Chairman McCain, my hands have been slapped before when I ventured into the delicate area of congressional jurisdiction, so for
Even in the last
remaining 15 days that I'm in office, I don't think I'm going to speak to that. Afterwards, that might be different.
Well, we'll look forward to calling you back. Admiral Rogers?
Should I second the comments of the Director of National Intelligence?
But it does make it difficult, doesn't it, with the, it's not exactly stovepiping, but overlapping jurisdictions, I think makes your job a little harder, doesn't it? I mean, in all candor, Admiral.
I mean, the way I would phrase it is, I think clearly an integrated approach is a key component of our ability to move ahead here. I would say that in the government, in the private sector, there's no particular one slice where that's not applicable.
Thank you. Senator Reed.
Well, thank you very